Okay, so here's where we're at, and this is what I want to tell you. You see how I'm skimming? I'm getting these sides as I go. So I'm right-handed, I'm taking my left hand, and I'm pulling to the wall here so that that does not harden on there and contaminate. It's getting mixed. So there's the first thing. Second thing, when you all looked a minute ago, it was very cloudy. And I want to show you how you can read all this right here now. You can read every bit of that. It is super clear, but just for mixing, we have a lot of bubbles down here that we introduced to this. There's nothing you can do about that. It's going to happen. It is okay to happen. The faster you go, the more bubbles that you're going to introduce to the resin, and it's going to be that many more on the flood coat side that you have to get out. So I'm going to hit the walls here one more time. We like to introduce the color. Okay, I'm going to get a temperature. Here you go. Come here. 76.8. Okay. So we're right here about 77 degrees. We're about 5 to 8 degrees off of our mark. So I'm going to let this sit for just a second. You're not going to hurt a thing. Okay. It is creating heat just sitting, just so you know. So you don't have all day, but you don't have to stress out. What we have here is black metallic. Okay, this is going to be super cool. Black metallic, countertop epoxy. And what I'm doing here, this is a half a teaspoon, and it's just a little heaping. So now that we're almost 77, I'm going to go ahead and introduce this to the resin. I'm going to put 2 of these in here, just like this. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce this to the resin, because if I wait till it's ready to dump out between 82 and 85, I don't have enough time to mix this and to get it to dissipate in the resin. I don't have enough time left at that mark. So I take that stick, get it all down in here, and what's going to happen, it's going to start working itself to the sides. So as soon as it's all the way around to the sides, immediately start doing this with your sides. Get all this pigment to get off those sides so it doesn't cling to them. Mix it some more. Just give it a minute. You'll see here in just a second, because we want all this mixed really thorough. Don't leave those sides sitting too long though, because it'll want to grab the sides and it'll want to try sticking to them. It's okay if the side turned the color of resin you're using, just don't let a lot of that powder sit there, because it'll get in the resin too late, right when we're getting ready to dump it out, and you'll have pigment actually come out right in the flood coat. You don't want that, because you ain't going to be able to get that off. This is where we added our pigment in, and this is where up until our 82, 85 mark, by the time we're ready to dump this out, not only are we accurate on the heat to dump it out, but we are thoroughly mixed with this pigment, so we don't have any clumps at the end of it that come out in this flood coat. Another thing that I think you might be thinking of, or we've had this question before too, how come you all are not putting a seal coat on this piece? Well, that's the whole reason of the 2 coats with the paint. A seal coat's purpose is to clog the pores of the wood that you're pouring over. Since we are making this look like a granite or a marble, it's already seal coated. The paint did that job. So we are going to flood coat a thick, luscious black metallic right across this guy. We're going to let this sucker cure overnight, get completely dry, so that tomorrow we can start putting additional vein work, graphics in it to make it look like the granite and everything that we're trying to do. And what's going to happen there is when we go to put on we're going to put on an additional coat the next day, which we'll get into that. That'll be another video. That thick clear flood coat is going to encase over the top of this black flood metallic coat, and it just really sets the depth and the tone and everything in your piece. So, you know, some people look at that as, well, that's a waste. You know, I wouldn't do that. You don't have to. I'm just telling you what we do. So, we are almost there, and I've got a little surprise for Mike. This is where I'm going to add. This is a fine glitter. You can get this from any hardware store. Don't get the big chunky ones. They're a nightmare to try to flood coat over and to get them to cover. So he's a Louisville fan. This is a black, pretty top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some of this red in here. When this black hits, and it all hits all over the table, as you look at it differently in the light, walk across it, daylight comes in, you're going to see all this red glitter. It's really going to go with his scheme of the Louisville. So we're just doing that to really help him out. He's going to love it. It's really going to hit. We didn't put a whole lot in there, so you're not going to see it clumped up whenever we go to pour this out, but it's going to be dispersed very evenly, but here and there. So we don't want too much to where it's nothing but glitter. We just want those twinkles to hit your eye as you're gazing across that top or walking by it. That's the whole purpose. So I really think Mike's going to like this. He kind of told us to do what we want, so there you go. I'm thinking like he would be thinking. I would want to see that if this was my piece. I think it's going to make it. It's going to make it look really cool, and you know, I think he's going to be happy with that. So that was a judgment call on our end. If we're wrong, so sorry, Mike. So we're getting close. There you go. Show him, Tom. There you go. 81.9 degrees. We just hit 82. We are ready. Right about now, I'm going to let this go one more time. Around. And you can feel it. From when I first started to now, this feels a whole lot thinner. Alright, so now we're going to take this over here. It's ready. If you leave it set in this mix way too long, it's going to start overheating and smoking. Kid you not. Look down in there with the light. See the glitter? And that's all the metallic and everything. So I mean, it's a beautiful color. So look, here's how we're going to go about this. Right now I'm going to concentrate on the surface, but then we want to get all this 3D stuff, so it takes way more than what I need to achieve all this. So right now I'm going to start right at the top of the 3D, and I'm just going to get this right there kind of in the middle. There we go. I don't want to do too much, but you got to get everything to cover. It's the whole point of a flood coat. I'm going to move on down here so it runs across my edges. I'm going to get this other side. Then I'm going to get the back side. With live edge, it is very crucial to get this pour to go over where you're wanting it, because once you run out, you got to hope that this is going to close. Seeing right here, I'm taking that last little bit. I know it's going to close. I'm making those edges run without having to touch them. That's the whole point. Just like that. Now I'm going to set this down. We're going to work on this real quick. Go ahead and show them, Tom. Yep. That's what it looks like just dumping it out. So no big deal. We're not moving this around. That was the whole reason for the flood coat. These last ones, they're already getting ready to close. This guy right here that didn't quite run over and has that little hump, no problem. Just that little bit right there will help that to go on and shut. It's just gravity, that's all it is. There we go, boom, he's already shut. These guys will shut here in just a minute, that's it. There's nothing else to it. The reason you don't want to be too light on the flood coat, if you're too light, if you don't have enough up top, thick enough, right now this top is moving. even though you don't see it, it's moving away. As it moves away, it rolls over. If you don't have enough thickness on this front edge all the way around, you're gonna have this happen right here. If it's too thin, gravity will never close that. If it sits here too long like that, it's gonna take that half moon shape. You can put resin over it, over that all you want. You're gonna see that flash right through the finish. So I hope this part of it helps. We're gonna take a quick breather. We're not touching nothing. The whole purpose now is to let these few little bubbles that are probably getting ready to come to the surface, come to the edge, so that we can show you what to do with them. And let me point this out before we take a breather. Look at the bubbles right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There you go. There might be a few more that I can't really see. So what I'm saying is very minimal, hardly no bubbles at all. That's only because we did not skip the painting process. We did not do one coat. It was the color black, and we just, that's good, that works, we're good. That's the reason. If we would not have painted this twice, you would have seen about 200-300, possibly more up here. We would have showed you how to get rid of those, and they would have come right back because your pores were not shut. That's why that's so crucial. So give us just a minute. Look, that's already just about shut. Give us just a minute, we'll be right back.